Off top. Charlie.
I've got some trivia for the team.
All right, here we go.
There has been one player to win Super Bowl MVP in a loss. Do you guys know who that player is?
Play the music.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.
Welcome to the Domonique Foxworth Show presented by Allstate. Throw your hands up. I'm joined, as we always are, by the leader of the Bilk, who has a lot of answering to do today, Bill Barnwell. And, of course, Charlie Kravitz is here because he's always here ready to tear the club up.
He's here because he's always here.
I was too busy thinking about all of our pre-show conversations and how you were tearing the club up in Tennessee when you were a youngster. But anyway, get to the trivia.
Bill, do you have a guess?
I think I know the answer to this one.
Woo!
It is a Cowboys player. Charlie, is that correct?
Correct.
Oh,
correct.
It is a guy whose first name is Danny.
Nope.
No. It's a Cowboys player.
It's a hard name to remember. I feel like it's not like a famous player. So like I believe that you know the answer. You just can't find the name right now.
I don't know the name.
All right. His name was Chuck Howley. He was a linebacker who made a lot of plays in Super Bowl V, which they lost 16-13. They won next year. This is an all-time great sports Wikipedia page. He's up there with the likes of Rosie Greer.
Oh, check out that Roosevelt Greer Wikipedia page if you want.
We'll do a whole episode on it in the offseason. But so Chuck Howley, I got to give you some more Chuck Howley facts. He only accepted the Super Bowl MVP award, which he said meant nothing to him, because it came with a station wagon for free that he could give to his wife as a present. Chuck Howley went to the University of West Virginia. He got varsity letters in 5 sports: football, track, wrestling, gymnastics, and swimming. And he won the Southern Conference 1-meter diving championship.
Chuck Howley was the man.
Chuck Howley had a career-ending knee injury after his second year in the NFL with the Bears.
Oh, no.
He retired to run a gas station and then unretired after playing in a University of West Virginia alumni game where he's like, I still got it. And his exact quote after he was traded to the Cowboys after unretiring, I went back because I decided there were better things to do than run a gas station.
Shout out to Chuck.
Dude, Chuck rules.
Chuck did get the MVP of the Super Bowl, but he did not get the league MVP, which I think our first topic we're going to get to at some point.
That's a great transition. That's art. Honestly, it's early, but get your hands up. Get your hands up. He deserves it.
Up again?
This is early.
We're starting the show?
Yeah.
Not
it's
premature. This is important. Get your hands up.
Is this because Red Zone had a get your hands up reference as well? And
did they?
Yeah, they sure did.
Oh, they taking us.
It's time for the Good Hands Plays presented by Allstate. Jonathan Taylor. You're in good hands with Jonathan Taylor. Today he had 244 yards on the ground, another 42 through the air, 3 touchdowns. It's every week. He has a combined almost 1,400 yards and 17 touchdowns on the year. And he brought the Colts back where they just gave him the ball and they won in Berlin. And quite frankly, I have a question for you guys coming off of this overtime victory against the Falcons. And I know this is going to be triggering for you, Bill, but this is for both of you. And I'll start with Domonique on this. Are you starting to think, after today's performance,
yes,
that Jonathan Taylor can win the MVP?
Well, can he or should he is a different question. So, we've had this conversation before. And before we get into the nitty gritty of the MVP award, what the award has come to mean is very literal. And so it's hard to not give it to a quarterback because quarterbacks, even a mediocre quarterback, is probably more valuable than a really good running back. However, there is something to be said for him being the engine of the very best offense in the league and probably the most, they're the best team as far as their record and most of the advanced stats would suggest up until this point. And he's the best player on that team. That's normally enough to get you serious MVP conversation. But it feels like we're just doing the thing where we say he should be an MVP conversation, but there's no chance he can actually get it because it's going to go to Drake May or somebody like that. Right, Bill?
No, he has a shot. Domonique, I have a 3-piece formula for you.
What kind of shot?
For how a running back is going to win MVP.
Okay.
It's actually
Let him give his formula.
My bad. Let's do the formula.
Are you not interested in the Barnwell formula for MVP?
Definitely interested.
Yeah.
Interested in the Bilks formula, the 3-piece Bilk formula. Let's hear it. Do we get a biscuit with this? I don't know.
Number 1, you got to set the single season rushing record.
Okay.
Jonathan Taylor on pace for 1936. That is not the single season rushing record, but gets hot, continues to play this way. Had a rough week last week. That kind of got him off track, but he's back on track this week after playing the Falcons. So keeps it up, sets a single season rushing record. He's in the conversation. Number 2, you got to score a lot of touchdowns for a good team. Colts are the favorites to win the AFC South. The Jaguars gave them some help today by completely melting down in the final 8 minutes of that game against the Texans. So they have a big lead. They could be the 1 seed potentially in the AFC if that happens. And Jonathan Taylor racks up 20, 25 touchdowns. That's the kind of profile that gives you an MVP nod. And the third one, and this is the most important one.
Yeah.
Your quarterback's got to be a little stinky. And I'll tell you what, I don't want to say he was looking at gas stations to manage after this game on the flight back, but Daniel Jones did not play all that great in this game. And earlier in the year, I think we would have had people making the case of, hey, why are we going to give the MVP to Jonathan Taylor when we got a perfectly fine kind of boring white guy at quarterback there? Well, now that boring white guy is not really playing all that well. So the path is opening up for the player to get recognized from this great offense, not as Daniel Jones, but strictly as Jonathan Taylor.
Beyond that, by the way, I think you're going to talk about you're talking about the quarterback on his team. It's the quarterbacks in the league. If there was last year, Saquon, I think, was really hampered by the fact that those are historic seasons by both Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson, probably the 2 best seasons of each of their career, which I think was disqualifying for anyone but one of those elite quarterbacks to win it. This year, I'm not taking anything away from Drake May or Mahomes or Josh Allen or the other guys at the top or Stafford.
Like you're taking a few things away.
Yeah, a little bit.
But those are just right now. They're having excellent seasons.
You're taking
not historic
away
seasons.
From them.
I mean, they got enough of them, except for Drake May.
Yeah.
He'll have more coming. But I do think that matters. I don't think it's a year-to-year comparison. I don't think it should the thing that I obviously need to have a historic thing, and LT's 31 touchdowns in the season is actually not off the table for Jonathan Taylor, which is insane to say because I thought that was a record that seemed borderline unbreakable for a skill position player. But I actually think one of the fool's errand of this is comparing it year to year to running backs. Well, Saquon didn't win it last year. Well, it's not you actually are compared to your competition year to year, and I think the bigger case would be CMC 2 years ago when Lamar won his second MVP, because Lamar was not as good that year as he was last year. But still, this Taylor season, no one expected this from the Colts offense, and that part of the narrative, this is still a narrative award, makes him is a huge part of this.
It's less of a narrative award though. I think that there's the problem is that the
quarterback narrative.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's I get it. So if you could separate the quarterback out and you could change the name of the award, then maybe you have a chance, because I think you could easily make the argument that Jonathan Taylor is the most important player of the season this year. But when you start talking about value, as much as I want to make the argument for Jonathan Taylor being the most valuable, it's hard. It's almost impossible to make an argument that he's more valuable than a quarterback. And you could look at his own team and see that the results of this season are largely on how good he's played, but also they got a quarterback. And that's why, they had a similar team last year with a bad quarterback. They have the same team this year with a good quarterback.
How dare you?
Oh, my bad. I forgot that you are the last remaining.
I'm a Stanthony Richardson.
I mean, he'll have a resurgence somewhere else at some point, but he wasn't good last year. He wasn't consistent, at least. I think we all could agree.
He sucked, duid. You know what I'm saying?
No, I mean, I think
he was consistent. He was incredibly consistent.
No, he did awesome things. He did really cool things on occasion.
He had one throw.
There was only one. I feel like there was 3. It was only one.
That was so sick, though.
It was
that was so nice.
Yeah, so I don't know. I get it. I feel like reshaping all the awards and talking about that is a whole nother ball of wax that nobody wants to get into. But it's very weird because we do MVP differently than we do Offensive Player of the Year, which makes sense because Offensive Player of the Year is often not a quarterback, it's someone else. But NFL Player of the Year is what we give is that's the MVP, but it's not actually the Player of the Year, because I think you could make an argument. Not make an argument. I think so far this season, the most impressive player has been Jonathan Taylor.
But there's 2 different conversations happening here, right? Last time a running back won MVP, It was Adrian Peterson.
Right.
Do you remember who his quarterback was? Charlie?
It wasn't a Keenum or a Skelton or someone.
A Ponder?
No, it was Christian Ponder.
There we go. Nailed it.
Sure, a nice guy. He was overmatched when it came to being a National Football League quarterback. And so, if we get the last 2 weeks version of Daniel Jones, who seems aggressively like he's turning into a pumpkin, and he's that guy for the rest of the season, and Jonathan Taylor is carrying them to victories, people are not going to look and say, oh, well, Daniel Jones was great in the first half of the year. They're going to say, oh my God, Daniel Jones is falling apart at the seams and Jonathan Taylor is keeping this team's chances of making it into the playoffs alive. Like, that is I think the best case for Jonathan Taylor is that Daniel Jones continues to struggle. And we're thinking about Daniel Jones in this offense very differently than we did the first half of the season.
I think standalone games matter too. Like, this was today, watching him be the best player on that field by such a wide margin, 194 yards after contact. This was like, I'm not calling him a Hall of Famer. This was like an all-time great, like gold jacket type running back game, the way that he did it with the yards after contact.
Yeah.
And that stuff really, really matters with it too. And Bill, I want to know what you think about this, but the comparison for the way that this offense is run, and I'm not saying it's 1-to-1, but there are some vibes of Daniel Jones that feel like Tennessee Ryan Tannehill. Where it was like, this is like this guy who's like the advanced metrics say is a better quarterback, but like the tape guys and the ball knowers, like there's still significant limitations here. And what it felt like today, as that game got closer and closer and the lead seesawed, was it was actually quite obvious that they were going to win that game or lose that game on the back of Jonathan Taylor. And I know Daniel Jones had the long run. He had the throw to Tyler Warren.
Oh, Tyler Warren's so good.
I'm not taking anything out of it, but it felt like Derrick Henry on the Titans to an extent where it's like, game script, throw it out the window. Like, our best player is getting the ball consistently down the stretch of these games. And that's a very unique place to be. And that feels quite similar to Derrick Henry or Adrian Peterson early in his career. And that's something that doesn't happen often in high-powered modern offenses.
But the difference was with Ryan Tannehill, he was hitting shot plays. It wasn't like he was just doing a ton. Like, he was only throwing 20, 22 passes a game. Daniel Jones was actively making the Colts worse in this game.
Yeah,
like, I think that's the difference is... Like,
except for the bloody lip.
Except for the bloody lip. But if he's just like a kind of efficient, like really low volume passer, then yes, that'll be a Tannehill thing. They'll take away from the case. And I don't think that'll help. But if Daniel Jones is like taking 6 sacks, or I don't know how many sacks he took in this game, but he's taking a bunch of sacks and he took 7 sacks in this game, excuse me. If he turns the ball over twice a game, like then it's like, oh no, Jonathan Taylor is actively beating this man who is sabotaging the Colts' chances. That, to me, is a much stronger case than the Daniel Jones just being kind of the Ryan Tannehill, where he's, kind of just like a high efficiency, gonna throw like 1 pass every quarter kind of guy.
The point you made about the standalone games is a good one, because I think that those like are really loud moments that stick with everyone's opinion and the voters. And they only have one on the schedule right now that's 8-15 against the 49ers. But they got the Seahawks and they got the Chiefs next week. And I think that those type of big time games, if he goes off against the Chiefs, if he has 200 plus against the Chiefs, and no, Charlie, we discussed.
I can't do it. The computer's in front of me.
Charlie trying to do the Jonathan Taylor like touchdown skipping into the end zone.
It's so cool.
Dance. It is very cool, and it immediately becomes uncool.
Nah, I'm cool.
You try to do it.
Nah, I'm cool.
You're not cool. You're not cool. Me and Bill are cooler than you.
I derailed you. Continue.
No, I mean, I think the point is those games matter a great deal. How they play in those, how he plays in those games. If he had a game like he had against the Colts, against the Chiefs,
against the Falcons.
I mean, he just had against the Falcons, where it's 240 yards on the ground and overtime drive that's on his back against the Chiefs at 1:00 next week. I think we start to reconsider how realistic it is for him to win the MVP.
You have Taylor Swift. You see her like mouthing in the box, being like, "Holy, this guy's good." He's 5-1 to win the MVP right now. He's just behind Drake May and Matthew Stafford. If you're looking at the pace, and we'll go through some of the actual specifics of this game in a second, but if you're going through some of the narrative-based cases, which is the one that's most compelling to you? Upstart second-year quarterback Drake May, who's taken a team that had the 4th pick in the draft to a potential 1 seed in the AFC. Matthew Stafford, where it's someone who career achievement to he's old, he's old, or Taylor. With this, I mean, Matthew Stafford's numbers this season: 2,400 yards, 25 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He's nasty.
What was that?
I don't know. It just came out. I got excited by Matthew Stafford's arm ankles, and he's nasty.
Arm ankles?
Angles, not arm ankles. By the way, so do you have a narrative choice?
I mean, I think that I think Drake May. I had lower expectations for this Patriots team than what they're doing right now. And given that the Bills took a step back, they have a chance to win their division. Drake May probably, like, the narrative as far as a team being ahead of schedule and a player impacting it the most. Like, I think from a narrative standpoint, Jonathan Taylor Drake May is going to be a tough out. And then on top of it, Drake May plays quarterback.
What about the old guy, like gray beard?
Yeah, I think it's a little... Because there is less of a surprise factor. Like, I think Matt Stafford's incredible and he's having a great year. But I think if you're just asking for a narrative, I think that we expected the Rams to be good. Mm-hmm. Matt Stafford's offense.
He was in an Airstream. We didn't even know if he was going to play to start the year. They cryogenically froze his spine during camp.
Yes, there was a better chance Matthew Stafford was going to retire than he was going to be playing at this level at the midway point of the season based on how he felt in August.
Yeah, that's a fair point. But I still think when you talk about narrative, it's like the most surprising is essentially what you're asking is like, who has surprised us, given us the biggest, like,
most heartwarming, most exciting.
I mean, that's all the same. It's like surprise. And I think the most surprising to me is not Jonathan Taylor or Matt Stafford. And you're right. The injury, we were concerned about him missing early portions of the season. But the most surprising is what Drake May is doing. Him and Vrabel are doing there. And I guess, yeah.
Bill, I need to call out Domonique for a second.
Uh-oh.
Please.
Before the show,
we
assumed that you were going to say Jonathan Taylor could not win the MVP. And Domonique was like, I'm ready to have this argument to defend Jonathan Taylor winning the MVP. And then you came out with your proprietary formula.
I'm scared.
And he was like, can I agree with the bilk? No, I cannot. I have to completely change how I actually feel about the topic.
I don't like math. You had a formula on me. Actually, I kind of like math. It's great. So you want me to argue something?
No, I wanted you to give your actual opinion.
Yeah. My actual opinion is that is what I said, is that valuable is impossible for a running back to win. I think if we could measure something else, then we can make an argument for Jonathan Taylor. But then when you start thinking about what Drake May is doing, I actually don't really believe what I told y'all I believe. I'm sorry, I changed my mind.
That's fair. By the way, there's a non-zero chance that JT doesn't even win Offensive Player of the Year. Like,
yeah, you give it to,
to Jackson Smith and Jigba. I just did my
midseason awards and gave it to Jackson Smith and Jigba, who was uncoverable for a quarter of the game before he left for a concussion test. Yeah. And by the time he came back, the Seahawks are up 117 points and didn't throw the ball again.
I mean, going into this game, he was averaging like 4.4 yards per route run. Mm-hmm. Literally, if he runs a route, they get halfway to a first down.
Well, not literally.
I mean, on average, but yeah, okay, whatever. You know what I mean. Okay, let's talk about this actual game. So we talked about the Colts. I think that we're very happy with the Jonathan Taylor stuff. But on the other side of this, I think there's a legitimate conversation to have about the Atlanta Falcons. This is a team with a lot of talent. Seriously,
there's no conversation to have. They ain't it.
Well, which side of the ball are you more disappointed in?
All of it. I think there's
these are big names, fantasy football players, people were really excited about. Drake London and Drake London. He's awesome. Bijan's awesome.
Not the problem.
No.
Not the problem.
I'm not blaming him. I'm just saying it's a high-profile team.
I don't know. I feel like it's hard to dissect what's going on there because it depends on the week, and it's also just a major disappointment generally, and a perpetual major disappointment for that team. They pop up every now and then, show you that they're good or that you think they can be good, and then they have all these individuals who are unique and special in isolated situations, but they never quite put it all together. And it's disappointing and frustrating. I've been out on them for a few weeks now, so I'm sorry, go ahead.
What a convenient thing to go out on them right after they beat the Bills. Domonique decides, I'm out on the Falcons now. I'm going to ride this 3-game losing streak.
That couple of weeks was wrong, but I mean, they did have a good win in that particular game, but that team is always, I mean, you get it, Bill. You know what I'm talking about. We're the same.
I'm not saying you're wrong. Here's the problem with the Falcons. If you were going to construct a dream scenario for the Falcons, given their roster construction against a really good team, and the Colts have been a really good team this year, it would have been this game. They get 7 sacks. This team that traded used their 2 first-round picks this year, traded a first-round pick, a future first-rounder to the Rams to get an extra first-round pick this year. They get 7 sacks in this game. Their star players play well. Bijan has 84 rushing yards. They run for $140. Drake London has 6 catches for 104 and a touchdown. And they still lose. That's the tough part is even when the things they've invested in live up to expectations, the stuff they have not invested in, their offensive line, which is kind of banged up, their secondary, which is not very good, their linebackers, which are banged up and aren't very good when you have guys missing. There are none Drake London receivers. They're sloppy. They're a mess. And their quarterback is someone you can't trust from week to week. He's really poor man's Jordan Love. And that's not a good place to be. And so that's the tough part. So I feel like this was the formula they would have hoped to have. I know I'm big on formulas today on today's show, apparently. This is the stuff they would have wanted to be playing well to say, okay, listen, we're on the right track. We're winning games. And Raheem Morris's clock management, not necessarily all that great. Some decisions didn't work out that well. And even though they got some 2-pointers and some 4th down stuff that went their way in this game, they still lost. And I think that has to be the depressing thing is it feels like even on a good day, it feels like they can still find ways to lose.
Yeah, they're such an up and down, week to week team. That, and this was actually, to your point, Bill, this was an up week. To also lose on an up week is like a really unfortunate thing. I think watching Sauce Gardner out there for the first time, like I get the idea. It wasn't like franchise changing just yet, but he just got there and flew to Germany. But I mean, I'm looking forward to seeing how this defense evolves now that they have a corner. And I mean, I don't think the corners that they have are all that bad, and especially when they get healthy.
When Ward gets healthy, Tavares.
Is it crazy to you that defensive backs can jump from team to team and play like 90% of the snaps in like the first week they're there? Sauce played 100% of the snaps today.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think it depends on the coverages you're playing, but honestly, the coverages don't change that much. There are certain rules inside coverages that are kind of game plan specific. So mostly what it is, I think that's the most challenging part is understanding, is changing the words. So you might use a different word to play something different. Picking up the scheme for a corner, and a corner like Sauce Gardner, the reason why they got him is not so that he can like play the nickel. Like the nickel, I think is a little bit more sophisticated of a position as far as like learning. It's like, hey, you know the basic rules of cover 3. That's all you play. And you know basic cover 1. Like that's it. Go get this guy. Be big.
After last week, I don't know the rules of any coverage anymore. I'm not.
Same.
It's a dangerous place to go.
Different rules.
You guys don't have to know the rules of coverage.
No, just like. Never mind. I just get mocked for not knowing. I need to ask you guys something about, you brought up Penix. Is that the most retroactively nihilistic debate ever? It felt so important at the time about Cousins versus Penix versus did Terry Fontenot do the right thing or did he mismanage the cap with it? It's like, dude, nothing matters. Like we don't even make fun of Terry Fontenot anymore. Yeah. It doesn't feel important whatsoever. They used this pick on a quarterback. They took the shot and it's like, now both of the guys weren't. It doesn't seem, and that's maybe not fair to write off Penix, but what we've seen so far, it just seems so much less important than we thought at the time.
Because this team is cursed. They just can't quite get it right. I think it's when they decided not to offer me a contract extension. That's the curse. They've been cursed ever since then.
I thought you were going to say it was who's not the dude who got the hooker before the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah, that's the Bo Money Jones special.
Yeah, he loves that.
He hates it, actually. I mean,
at this point, I think it brings him joy.
Well, at one point, it brought him enough sadness to give up on the team.
What was that guy's name?
Eugene Robinson.
No. Eugene Robinson. Yeah, he was the man of the year. He was named. I don't think Walter Payton's name.
I feel like you should call him live on air, live to tape, and ask him.
No, I will not. I will not do that. I don't want to upset our good friend Bomani Jones. I don't think it makes him happy.
That's all we need to know. Joy or sadness?
Were you? I mean, you were talking about calling Bomani, not Eugene, right?
Yes.
Okay,
sure. Do you have Eugene Robinson's number? You want to ask him if that hooker brought him joy or sadness?
I do
or
not.
Both?
I do not.
Joy then sadness?
I do not. We got some more games to talk about.
All right.
Football.
All right. Let me log back in. Broadcaster mode. Miami 30, Buffalo 13.
Oh gosh, we're score calling.
You asked for it. Log back in.
Which two teams are playing in this game, Charlie?
Dolphins and Bills.
Thank you. Okay, I need to hear the teams and then the score with the teams involved as well.
Okay, thank you.
Just to set in.
So there's a very simple question I want to know. After the Bills beat the Chiefs, they laid 40 the week before they beat the Chiefs. They've had a couple stinkers before their bye. Who are the Buffalo Bills this year?
Nobody knows. That includes the Buffalo Bills. The problem with the Bills is this. So when you have a superstar quarterback, I'll flip it differently. When you don't have a superstar quarterback, when we talk about Daniel Jones and the Colts, we talk about Jared Goff and the Lions, we talk about Dak and the Cowboys, things have to be right for you to win. Like there's a formula, and you can have a really well-built team that it, really hits that formula really well, like the Lions have the past couple of years. And as long as you're within those kind of guardrails for that formula, you are just fine. We saw it Jared Goff today. I don't think we're going to talk about Lions Commanders, unfortunately. No. But Jared Goff had no trouble with that formula today.
I'm going to send you a thesaurus immediately for a formula. I mean, damn, you just hit us with 6 formulas.
Listen. I didn't want to admit this. I'm being paid by the formula mentioned today on today's show.
Big formula.
Yeah, I got a Formula One sponsorship,
baby
guys.
Formula? I don't know. You're a Gerber guy?
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, listen, I need baby formula now. The path you go on as a team is clear. When you have a franchise quarterback, when you have a Josh Allen, when you have a Lamar Jackson, when you have a Patrick Mahomes, that breaks that up. Now you can win all kinds of different games. The Bills have a superstar quarterback, but it feels like they are very susceptible to how their games start and how they react to it. It feels like outside of that Ravens game in week 1, they have struggled to catch up and struggled to be in the game when teams have gotten an early lead on them, when teams have given them some adversity. It's felt like they have not been able to kind of work their way back into games. And I think that's a product of not having any receivers that scare anybody in that passing attack.
The recipe to beat the Bills is pretty obvious. The recipe to beat the Bills is you can run the ball on them, and if you can stop them from running the ball, it puts them in a tough situation. To your point, if they have that superstar quarterback, but if he's going to turn the ball over, particularly in the red zone, you're not going to get enough chances. And if you can't stop the run, and that's one of those like tenets of football that I think are so obvious that we don't bring it up. And normally teams aren't so bad at stopping the run that they can't win. It's like a weakness, but it's not debilitating. But if you just can't stop the run the way that the Bills seem to not be able to stop the run, unless you go up against a team that's not going to run the ball or you have a fast start, to your point, like the game script for them matters more than it should when you have a quarterback like Josh Allen. But yeah, they have a ton of injuries on defense too, but they always seem to have a ton of injuries, and they seem to figure out a way to play effective defense anyway. I think the point was made last week. I don't even remember which show I was on, but who made it. It was probably Get Up. But anyway, just about how they built their roster to beat the Chiefs, and it worked out perfectly.
Literally every show. Every show has been like, they built the roster to beat the Chiefs. Yeah.
But then that was me.
Oh, yeah, it was you. It was the great Bill Barnwell. But it just... It looks even more like it's built to beat the Chiefs when they lose so embarrassingly to teams like the Falcons and even worse, the Dolphins. It's just bad because the Chiefs they just don't run the ball nearly as much or as effectively.
Well, last week I came on here and talked about how it was like a great victory for Brandon Beane because he had resisted the urge to go out and get that wide receiver, go get that playmaker. And instead, he spent money on the defensive line. And that was the thing they wanted to beat the Chiefs, was a deep, talented defensive line. They gave Mahomes a ton of problems, pressured him like 52% of the time. That worked last week.
52%.
This week, they were playing from behind. They were not in position to rush Tua all that often. Yeah. And they needed someone who could get open. They had some drops in this game. They had some fumbles, some sloppy stuff. But you saw in this game, like, it was not like Josh Allen had open receivers constantly. Like, it was him struggling and extending plays. He ran for like 55 yards on one play on a 4th down, waiting for a guy to get open. And that's the weakness with this football team. That was we're hoping Keon Coleman develops. And you could see even after this game, like, they asked Josh Allen about Keon Coleman's development and like if he was getting enough opportunity. He said something like, well, he had one in this game. And that's like, it's pretty clear they have not done enough. And they're expecting Josh Allen to carry them over that, but Josh Allen's not playing quite as well as he did last year. And, James Cook is a great player, but when they fall behind, James Cook falls out of the offense.
Yeah. Keon had that one big catch and he seemed like almost relieved less than like celebratory, but it was a great play. But I don't think anyone's enjoying this more than, I guess, next to the Dolphins, like Stephon Diggs has to love seeing this, because it was just a year ago when everyone was like they got better when they got rid of Stephon Diggs. While Diggs is obviously a very integral part to what the Pats are doing, you look at what the Bills are doing, and Diggs is obviously as that specific individual is not the answer, but somebody like that would be really nice. And I know they said they went after Waddle, but you're never going to get, I mean, it's unlikely.
That feels like a Bills planted story, knowing they were never going to get Jalen Waddle. Like, oh yeah, we offered a first round pick. Look how hard we're trying. When there was never a chance in hell the Dolphins were trading you Jalen Waddle. That's some clever media operations by the Buffalo Bills.
I mean, it's funny, and I think a lot of, just coming off the conversation about the Colts, I think there was criticism made of the Colts giving up 2 picks for Sauce Gardner, 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner. And I get it, but I also recognize that, like, he's more valuable to you at this immediate moment than those first-round picks are if you think you have a real chance. I wonder about I wonder about the Bills, who have other holes to fill and expect their window to be longer with Josh Allen. Like, the argument that you couldn't have gotten a better receiver if you were willing to push out 2 first-round picks. Like, I could see someone making the argument that, like, you kind of got to go all in where it feels like the league is a little weaker. You got a quarterback, you need a weapon, and you're not going to go get it.
But look at the Chiefs, who traded away their best player and won 2 Super Bowls, right? Like, isn't that kind of the counter to that argument?
Yeah, no, I mean, they didn't. So,
best receiver, it was the slip of the tongue. Best receiver, not best player.
Oh, yeah. No, what? Oh, the Chiefs traded away their best receiver.
Yeah.
They traded away their best receiver, who is like an all-time great,
first ballot Hall of Fame,
incredible receiver. Yeah. So, like, I get it, and it's after they had already put a Super Bowl or 2 in their pocket. It was just 1 by that point, right? No, it was 2.
They'd put 1 in their pocket at that point. They went 2 more without him.
Yeah. So, like, it's an entirely different situation. Like, I get the argument either way. It's just something that we would never put on the table. Like, we're often quick to criticize someone for overpaying for a particular player, but we don't harken back to, like, the Rams F them picks years where it was like, hey, we're going all in, and then they still recovered more quickly, in part because they have a quarterback.
And because they hit on every single pick once they started getting picks again, which is like, it's like unbelievable.
But even if they missed on every single pick, the decisions that they made were justified
because they won the Super Bowl.
By winning the Super Bowl.
The Rams are like the only team to build a roster that way in like the last 30 years. And we're like, oh, let's just do it the Rams way. Let's just follow the one time that worked for one team when the Chiefs happened to get knocked out because their quarterback fell asleep in the AFC Championship game. I don't know how sustainable or how like reliable of a formula that should be for other teams to follow.
I'm certainly not arguing that it's sustainable or reliable. I'm making the point that we don't look at it the other way, where football is a risky game. There are dangerous things that happen. There are random situations in the game. And the idea that always frankly, like putting it out there and making a decision that you're going to go for something. Like, I understand the long-term effects of that, but you have a quarterback, you have a season. I think the Colts are showing the opposite, and maybe it doesn't work out for them, but it's just something that we don't do. It's so much easier to be like, hey, you overpaid, than to say, hey, you ain't got the heart to actually get aggressive.
You're saying the Bills should put their on the table and...
Gonads. I like gonads better.
Put their formula on the table and... No, I mean, you're right.
I'm not saying they should.
Bills,
I'm just saying that we would never criticize anyone for not, while we do criticize people for doing it.
If the Bills had made a major trade for a wide receiver, I don't think anybody, maybe me, because I'm a nerd, anyone who really matters besides me would have criticized them for making that move. I just think the problem is there wasn't that guy out there. Like, there wasn't could they have got Garrett Wilson? Probably not, because that's in the division. I mean, was there like a star wide receiver you think the Bills should have gone out of their way to trade for who actually would have been available on the market?
Just the price is right. The price is right. I mean, I guess that's a fair point. Get aggressive, Brandon Beane.
That's interesting. I mean, the one that would be out there would have been like maybe Chris Olave. You go get him, but the concussion history I think is difficult, and where the Saints were, and just a different risk.
Looked good today.
Oh no, he's an awesome football player.
Incredible one-handed catch today.
Yeah. All right. Baltimore Ravens 27, Minnesota Vikings 19. This is coming off a couple good defensive performances from the Ravens, where Kyle Hamilton's playing closer to the line of scrimmage. Roquan Smith looks healthier. They're looking closer to what we thought this defense could potentially be. Mm-hmm. And are you starting to believe? Are you starting to believe in this Ravens defense again?
I mean, I'll start. No.
Just a little bit?
I'm a little bit, absolutely a little bit.
He's getting thoughts.
I think that
your ilk loves the Ravens.
Yeah, I mean, Ravens are a fan favorite or a media favorite.
Yes.
Yes. And I know that bothers you, but
It sure does.
the defense has been better for a stretch. However, the defense is not a defense that is like without significant weakness. Like the defenses that we've seen for the Ravens in the past, and I expected them to, obviously you expect Matabike to be there, and it's not only him not being there and Green, the rookie, to have more and more impact, which he's having more impact, but pass rush has always been the problem with the Ravens. They haven't had a great pass rusher.
They traded Owe, and we thought that was going to have a huge deleterious effects on their pass rush.
Yeah, so I mean, the flexibility that their secondary provides for them is like the way that they're going to be able to stay in games. But this defense is still not quite that strong. They played well in this game because the offense, surprisingly, was the side of the ball that I guess was more concerning with their red zone issues, and the defense held them in there and created some turnovers. So watching these Ravens games, I get more confidence in the Ravens by looking at the rest of the conference than I do looking at the Ravens. Because I'll look at the Ravens and say, this is not a championship football team. And then we see the Bills lose to the Dolphins and see everyone else struggling. Like, it could happen.
We all said this, though, right? Like, we were looking at their early season struggles, and we were like, well, the defense sucks now. And it did. Yeah. It was awful earlier in the season. But they were banged up. We knew some guys were coming back. Apparently, you can just make the defense good by just shifting Kyle Hamilton from wherever he was to a different spot, which
did the exact opposite of what he did last year. Move him further away. No, closer.
Let's just do that in week 2 next year if they're struggling, guys. Don't wait until midseason to move Kyle Hamilton around. Wherever he was, put him somewhere else. But we all said, wait until after the bye. Look at the quarterbacks they get to play and the teams they get to play after the bye. And this 3-week stretch, I know they didn't allow a ton of points to the Rams for the bye. You watch that game back, Matthew Stafford missed a ton of throws in that game. He left 2 touchdowns, like 100 yards in the field. After the bye, though, Caleb, who was last in completion percentage over expected, Tua, who looked okay today, did 32 interceptions, but Dolphins put up a good offense, and 9 today for the Minnesota Vikings, who was only sacked once, but had some nice throws, had some ponderous throws. Another classic, no matter what you believe about J.J. McCarthy, you got evidence to back up your argument game for him. And next week, it's Dylan Gabriel. Week after that, it's Justin Fields. Week after that, it's a Joe Flacco revenge game, which I'm very excited about. Week after that, it's Aaron Rodgers. Week after that, it's probably Joe Flacco again. And they get Drake May in week 16. That is the next time they play an above average NFL quarterback if Joe Burrow does not come back early. So I believe the defense can look just fine against this very weak rotation of quarterbacks they have played and they're about to play.
You know what? The thing about this Ravens team, the conference is what gives me is Domonique said that the conference is what gives me a bit of confidence, but just compared to years past, they feel so much less inevitable in the positive way. They just don't seem nearly as good on either side of the ball.
I mean, in this game,
sick analysis by me there.
No, I mean, in this game offensively, I think the positive spin on their offense is that they still maintain the versatility offensively.
They're still good.
Right, I know, but I mean, I think that they were blowing people out of the water last year offensively. But while their offense isn't doing it this year, of course, part of that is Lamar's been injured. But what I recognized in this game was they decided to shift at a certain point into like a more QB run focus and tight end fullback focus offense and power run against this kind of aggressive blitzing defense. And that to me, like having the ability to switch to do that in the middle of the game is something that gives me some like confidence. And then they get in the red zone and struggle, but they move the ball pretty well.
It does seem crazy that an offense with Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry is going to continue to not score touchdowns in the red zone. Like I just find
it's so weird.
Yeah, they were the best in the league last year at the red zone, and they are near the bottom now in the high 20s. So I assume that's going to get better also as the season goes along.
Do you think Lamar is 100% or close to 100% right now?
I don't know. I mean, it's so hard to tell because he doesn't look inhibited while he plays.
How scared were you when he went airborne near the goal line? Because I was like, oh no. Because he never takes hits. He's like the slipperiest quarterback and like the best at taking glancing blows. And to see him just get launched in the air and come down. He came down hard too. It's very strange. He's totally fine, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, not totally fine, but like he didn't leave the game or show any like ill impact right there. But yeah, that's the thing. Is like it's hard to tell. Like Lamar is known to never run full speed, and he doesn't get in open field nearly as much as he does, or nearly as much as he used to. So like watching him in this game, I didn't see anything about his athleticism that seemed diminished. It did seem like he held onto the ball really long and like there was nothing open, and whatever blitz package that Brian Flores brought was not like I was going to say it wasn't impactful, but a lot because they have that flexibility where they're like, you know what? We're not going to spread it out and let you blitz us. We're going to bring in Ricard and I formation you to death.
Yeah, I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little nervous that he's not at full Lamar acceleration. Like there's just, for that dude, there's such like an ease to him going from I am passing to I am scrambling and I am past whatever defense you have. And I have like the easiest 15 yards in the league. Like that's his superpower to me. And then avoiding a hit at the end of it is the other superpower. And I don't know if that's there yet. He had 7 for 34 on the ground in this game. When he's running for 12, 15 yards at a clip and we know he can do that, that's when I feel like, okay, I'm confident we have the real Lamar. Right now, I feel like we have like 90% Lamar, which is still really good, but I don't think the actual Lamar they're going to need come January.
I think we should do a little bit about JJ.
I was about to say, what'd you think of 9, the Wolf? Did the Wolf get fed enough?
Stop it.
Those are his words, not mine.
I know, but you're mocking my guy.
I'm not mocking him.
You're mocking him.
I'm not mocking him.
Is he on your list? Is he with Riley Moss on the Domonique Foxworth guy list?
No.
I'm not mocking him.
It seems as if, Charlie's opinion aside, that the reason why I feel a little sorry for him is it feels like chaos.
We're doing I'm feeling sorry for him.
No, it's not.
He's played like 4 games.
Okay. It feels like KOC doesn't trust him.
We're back. We're in reruns. We're back to the classics. I feel
it's just
so bad for him.
I don't feel bad for him. He's fine. He'll be okay. He'll get better.
He's fine.
I just watch. So
we don't know anything about him yet.
Watching the game plan is what gives me concern.
That they don't trust him to throw after the script runs out after his first 10.
It's not even that they don't trust him. It's that he's in similar to Sean Payton. It's the shorts and bombs. It's like, look, we're not going to ask you to do anything. It's like, we're going to win if you can connect on this bomb. Like it's not. And that to me is, we think of Kevin O'Connell as someone who can design offense to make anyone successful. It seems like the offense that he's decided to design around him does not attack all areas of the field, which is surprising to me. And that's where I don't feel sorry for him, but I get a little concerned where he's like, you won't let him test this, huh?
So the thing about like Bo Nix, and I think that's the comparison you're making here is to the Broncos and Bo Nix at quarterback is Bo Nix misses a lot of those deep throws. They had a lot of stuff underneath, but Bo Nix provides value by scrambling, which JJ McCarthy can do. And he provides value by not having negative plays. Doesn't have a big sack rate, and he does not turn the ball over a ton. He's turned the ball a little more this year, unfortunately, but when he's playing well, it's either an incompletion or it's a completion with yards after catch. JJ McCarthy's turning the ball over too often. Like that is you can't play this style of offense where it's just bombs and screens, unless you're hitting like 70% of the bombs, which he was not. He was 6 of 23 over 10 air yards today. Or you have to be avoiding negative plays altogether. And JJ McCarthy has to find one of those two pass forward to have this work in the long term. Not saying he can't do it. I just you can't have all these negative plays. You can't have interceptions. You can't have near interceptions. He's had weeks where he's taken a ton of sacks. You can't do that and offer so little consistently in the passing game. It's just really hard to make that work.
And especially if the defense and special teams are not going to play like lights out like they did last week. If they're not going to create points for you, it's going to be really tough with the quarterback who's as limited as JJ McCarthy is at this point in his development. You want to make another joke about him having an alter ego?
No.
I do.
All right.
Why?
Clear out.
ISO, move to the other side of the court. It feels like the cornball quarterback, that job was coming open with Russ like on his way out and retiring. And JJ McCarthy was like, nope.
What did I say?
Right here.
What did I say?
I'm ready.
On our show on Thursday, Bill, I said, this might be a Photoshop on the screen. I said Charmander, JJ McCarthy, Charmeleon, Jalen Hurts, Charizard, Russell Wilson. You could put the quotes out and jumble the names, and they could be from any of them. They could be from any of them. My big take on it is just like, guys, you guys aren't Kobe. Just stop. Stop with this. If you needed to get pumped up on your own, I don't need to hear it. I mean, honestly, I just don't think we know enough about JJ McCarthy. I thought the weird thing about today is there were certain things I was more encouraged about. That you're talking about the bombs or screens. Like, yeah, he didn't play great in the two. Like, his interceptions are part of it, and he could have had a third. The guy dropped it. But last week, I thought it was just bizarre how much they parked the bus. It was genuinely felt like a Premier League tactic where they got up and he barely threw the ball the entire rest of the game in a way that was just like not sustainable to be a professional quarterback. And this week they at least like let him play some in the second half. And of course they had to because they were from behind. But this is from Kevin Seifert, our colleague at ESPN. JJ McCarthy's off-target throw percentage by quarter today. Quarter 1, 0%. Quarter 2, 20%. Quarter 3, 18%. Quarter 4, 40%.
Huh?
Ooh.
That's bad.
And it's weird that I was encouraged by the fact that he was just slinging that 40% of the time to no one.
Yeah, that's not good. He hasn't turned into the quarterback that they need quite yet. And while Sam Darnold is out here weekly,
come on.
What?
We don't need to make this comparison. They were never going to bring him back. Sam Darnold's way more expensive. They have a really flawed team, even with saving $30 million to put elsewhere on their roster. Like,
you don't think they would have brought him back if he hadn't fecaled down his pants in the last 2 games of the season?
No, I don't. They drafted JJ McCarthy in the first round. He was a guy they traded up for. They traded before the draft, expecting they were going to need those picks to trade up again. They didn't need them. They traded up a tiny bit again. They were going to make him the starter the moment he had the opportunity to play. I think they would have maybe franchised and traded Sam Darnold the way that the Patriots did with Matt Castle. But no, JJ McCarthy was going to be their guy. As long as Sam Darnold, if Sam Darnold cost $5 million, would they have brought him back? Yes. But once Sam Darnold was going to make any sort of money, they were moving on.
So, all right, well, I guess from your perspective, that means that we can't compare them. I think it's impossible for anybody who was a fan of that team or anybody who's watching to not be aware of what's going on. We don't have to have the conversation because maybe it's an unrealistic path for them to go down, but it is impossible to watch a weekend of football and watch them struggle at quarterback and then watch week after week after week of Sam Darnold putting up numbers without the support of a great rushing attack. So
you got JSN.
Yeah, he does have JSN. I mean, Justin Jefferson, he's not good.
It's maybe the one guy you can upgrade from Jefferson.
I know. So what are you talking about? Said he has JSN like that's a trump card. Oh, got JSN. He's good.
Not this week.
I mean,
he had him for part of this week.
Yeah.
I don't think he was not this week until he was not this week.
Yeah, I just mean like look, they're up like 1,000,000 to nothing. Okay, let's get into this. Let's get into the Rams and Seahawks stuff because the NFC West is turning into this fascinating division, and we are not. The Eagles play when you're watching or listening to this. They're playing tonight in the Packers, one of the marquee games of Monday Night Football this season. But and we all know the pedigree. We all know the Eagles and probably the Packers too are going to be there when it counts and come playoff time and be like a massive factor in this. But what's shaping up in the NFC West is really fascinating because you have this Rams team with this quarterback and this offense playing at an incredibly high level, and you have the Seahawks with that defense and the offense, which has so exceeded expectations. And they both rolled again today. The Rams over the 49ers as McVay continues to flip his sort of rivalry with Shanahan, and the Seahawks who came out and were up 1,000,000 to nothing, like Bill said, almost immediately against Jacoby Brissett and the Cardinals. Who are you more impressed with today, though, the Rams or the Seahawks? And obviously opponent is a factor in this.
I think when you say opponent is a factor, I assume that you're saying that we should give a little bit more credence to.
Well, otherwise, it's just the question's really obvious. It's like
no. I get it, but I'm not sure that I necessarily agree that there's I mean, I know the 49ers have had a better season so far, but they're dealing with a ton of injuries also, and so I don't know. I think. Ultimately, if we're looking at this whole season up until this point, I think I'm more impressed with the Seahawks than I am with the Rams. But I think the Rams are probably better because I'm a sucker for the quarterback.
It's the quarterback's last 6 games. This is from Ben Solak who tweeted out.
You aborted our friend. This is from our Ben Solak. He's an enemy now?
I didn't say friend.
You said this is from our, and then with Ben
Oh,
Solak.
sorry.
We got beef? No. I'm down with a little beef.
In the blank.
I love
Charlie.
Solak. Solak's,
Oh, boo.
Solak's great.
I wanted some beef.
Our good buddy, Ben?
Oh, okay.
Our little buddy? I don't
Friend of the
know.
show?
Little buddy?
Little drummer boy.
Yeah. But
Oh,
Matt,
now we're being condescending towards him.
that's
No,
what
he's a
Dominic
little
calls
drummer
him.
boy.
He was
He's a
on the
little
drum
drummer boy.
line, Bill.
He was on the drum line. That's all we know about him. He was on the drum line. In
Uh,
high school.
Well, you called him Lil Buddy too.
Yeah,
like
you did call him little buddy.
Come on, man. Like, let's be real.
Ben's great.
Matt just simply flipped his hips. Matt Stafford has simply flipped his hips. The last 6 games, Matt Stafford, 67% completions, 8 yards per attempt, 20 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
We got to show enemy. That was a good stat, though. Thank you, Ben.
This amazing stat. And all of this because I literally, my brain malfunctioned. I forgot to say the word friend and just paused.
It's a classic Jeff Saturday. He does it on Get Up all the time. We make fun of him. He gets mid-sentence, bails on it, starts a new sentence. It's the best. He's like, that sentence. He's like, he start running. But I think generally it's like, I know, like my wife does this when I'm talking, she'll start responding to the thing that I'm saying before I get it out. And I want to be mad, but she's always right. And I'm like, and so Jeff, I think he assumes, he's like, you know what I was about to say. Let's get over to the next thought. Let's save some time.
I still have no idea what this has to do with the Rams or the Seahawks. I have to admit.
I don't know. It was fun.
This is all back to Matt Stafford's really good. Before you just picked the Seahawks, who have gone up by 28 in back-to-back games.
Oh gosh, yeah. I recognize that it's my own personal bias that because the Seahawks defense, I should, as a defensive person, should be more partial. Not that the Rams defense is bad. The Rams defense is excellent also, but the Seahawks defense
the Rams defense is actually better than the Seahawks defense by EPA per play.
Yeah, by EPA. I saw that last week. I didn't like it because I enjoy watching the Seahawks defense better. Last week, I didn't realize they were still better. Obviously, they should be, or maybe they won't be after today's performance. But I just enjoy watching the Seahawks defense even more. But I'm still partial.
I mean, the Seahawks had multiple defensive touchdowns. I have to imagine their EPA is going to benefit from.
It might have passed them.
But also,
I personally find it offensive that you guys think I would give you some outdated EPA per play statistics here.
Up to date? I'm sorry, that is right. You can't. You think the king of the bilk is gonna give you an old EPA?
Is working with yesterday's. Come on.
That's a fair point.
Do you want to apologize?
Yeah, I do. I think we owe you a genuine apology, Bill.
Oh, I just refreshed it. The Seahawks are actually, but no, I'm kidding.
I'm sorry, Bill.
I mean, put it this way: they're comparable. Rams are 4th right now by EPA per play. Seahawks are 5th. If you told me the Seahawks defense was better, I would not argue with you. They have not had Devon Witherspoon for a chunk of the year. They've had some pieces out here and there. Really have not had their entire core of players together for many snaps so far this season. Rams have been healthier. Obviously, the front is terrifying. Secondary, you can poke holes in them a little bit. You can hit them a little bit in the secondary, especially at cornerback. But these are 2 great defenses. And so, unfairly maybe, I think the comparison between these 2 teams comes down to which quarterback do you believe in more. And perhaps unfairly, just perhaps on what we saw at the end of last year, I think one of the reasons why Vikings fans maybe shouldn't be as upset as they are about Sam Darnold bowling out each and every week for the Seahawks is that they remember what happened at the end of last season. And I don't think that's proof that Sam Darnold's going to do that again this year. But even in this game, and even last week, when they were up by a ton of points, when they were dominating the Texans, when they were dominating the Cardinals today, Sam got a little scared in some moments and hiccuped a tiny bit. And a hiccup usually gave the Cardinals like a 10-yard field and a touchdown. And that's the tough part to me, is that Sam Darnold can be basically perfect for long stretches of time and then almost completely melt down for a play or a couple plays. And when it melts down, it's usually in terrifying fashion. And Matthew Stafford can turn the ball over, but it doesn't feel as overwhelmingly scared in the way that maybe it does for Sam Darnold when he's backed up inside his 5-yard line or if they are trailing in a certain spot. And that's unfair, but I do think that's how I feel about it.
It's not unfair. Matt Stafford threw a no-look pass on the most important drive of his life, so scared is not something that you would assign to him. I think if that is the criteria for the difference in these quarterbacks, like who's going to be more comfortable, the guy who led his team to a Super Bowl and led a game-winning Super Bowl drive, obviously it's going to be better than the guy who doesn't have a playoff win at this point.
Can I give a tip? I was going to do a hard pivot. I was going to let you guys just debate on that. I just wanted to give a tip of the cap to one of my favorite rookies, Nicky Manwari from the Seahawks. He was one of my guys before the draft because he fits all of the Sean Taylor prototype, huge, fast safety guy, and seeing him come in immediately and be like a really fun impact player on that awesome defense, and as a member of the Legion of Spoon, has been awesome. That's it. That's my little positive
tip
moment.
of the hat to Ben Solak, who deserves one after
he does
how dirty you did him in the prior segment.
We love Ben, our good friend.
He's great. New dad, new double dad.
Congratulations. Next game. New England Patriots 28, Tampa Bay Bucs 23. I do want to zoom out a tiny bit on this game because this is kind of a weird game in totality in how it went down. But after today, if we zoom out on this, there's starting to be the hype building about Drake May. There's starting to be the questions about the top of the AFC. Are you reassessing where the Patriots stand at the top of the conference?
Because of this game?
No, just because this was like their second. Their schedule has seemed soft. I know the Bucs are really banged up, but it feels
after they beat the Bills, I thought they were going to win their division just because how badly the Bills had looked. But I think then the Bills bounced back against the Chiefs and were like, let's not get carried away. But they've been consistently pretty impressive, and I think that the big question was about them against good teams. And the Bills was one good team win that we saw. And then this one, it was not only about them against good teams, but I would put the Bucs in that category also.
The Bucs are a serious outfit.
Right. Yeah. It was about Drake May seeing.
Are we sure?
We'll
a serious outfit.
Yeah. We'll get to that.
Yeah, you about to get to one-score games and injuries and all that stuff.
No, just the vibe you get when you watch the Bucs. Are you like, oh, hold on. I got to go to the sports book. I got to bet on this team to win the Super Bowl.
Definitely not that.
No,
definitely not that. But I think that we also have to readjust our parameters based on this season relative to last season. So I think
the formula.
Yes, of what is an actual good win. I think the Bucs is a good win.
That's definitely a good win.
Right, I know. Yeah. That's what I was just reaffirming that. It was, and I also think
with your chest.
I did.
Now you have.
You must be getting never mind. I'm not gonna get on you and your team of producers trying to hype me up.
No, they haven't done that.
Yeah, they're hyping you up. I know when you get hyped up. I can feel hype. I can feel hype when you hype me.
No. Now just do the show.
I was trying to. You don't want that button. So I talk about saying stuff with you.
I think it's a good win. I feel like it might be a good win.
I'm missing Chargers 5, Steelers 3 for this.
You're welcome.
Drake May. Much was made of him seeing this very effective Todd Bowles blitzing defense. And Drake May's been good in all scenarios, but he hasn't been good in all scenarios against good defenses and good teams. Watching him just ball out against the blitz. And of course, he had that bad red zone interception. He wasn't perfect today. And
got rocked on the play before that interception.
Yeah, he tends to get rocked pretty often. And TreVeyon Henderson made a couple incredibly long runs for 50-plus yard touchdowns, which I think takes some of the pressure off of him. Just looking at Drake May's number and performance against the blitz, that will also I don't know. It feels like when you have, it's the quarterback thing that we were talking about with Josh Allen earlier. That you said you expect them to be in every game because the quarterback is kind of unflappable in that way, and Drake May is kind of proving to be that guy in every situation.
Drake May is a great quarterback. This isn't this isn't a referendum on Drake May. It's a referendum on how impressive is this victory. And I mean, I didn't think it was that impressive. We had a couple of big plays, which count. They matter. But it's not like this offense was consistent. It's not like they were moving the ball constantly down the field. It was the big pass to Williams on the crosser, one play, 70-yard touchdown, which, hey, it's great if you can get it, but you're not going to hit 50-yard rushing touchdowns and 70-yard passing touchdowns every single week. That inconsistency bothered me. And having that happen against a Bucs team where I'm not going to do the one score game thing. I'm not going to be just going to say they have not been that impressive this year. Right. Look at some of their victories. Not exactly like they're beating outside of the Seahawks, which was a fun shootout where they came up with a turnover when they needed to win that game. Not a lot of super impressive victories against healthy, happy, talented football teams on the Bucs resume this season. So kind of just feels like, a better version of what we saw last week when the Patriots were basically neck and neck with the Falcons, came up with a play late to win the game and sealed it up, which is nothing wrong with that, but that's not, I still feel like this team is proving themselves by beating mediocre competition, sometimes by pretty slim margins. And that is a team that I really hesitate to trust unless I see more of those victories like the ones we saw against the Bills. And they just don't play those teams very often.
I mean, the strength of the team that you're playing, I think, is very important. But what I have a hard time with while we're doing this is like, who are the teams? Like, there aren't as many of those teams out there. So, like, name the teams. And I know the Patriots have a very weak schedule this year, but name the teams that you would be like, they did beat the Bills. You wouldn't say the Dolphins, the Jets, the Steelers, the Ravens, the Bengals, the Browns. Like, who are the teams? The Colts are the best team as far as record, and they just went to the Falcons and beat them in overtime, which is a team that they beat. So I'm having a real hard time. The Broncos just won 10-7 against the Raiders. Like, who are these good teams that we got to beat?
That's the problem, is there's not great teams. And so I'm not saying that they're not going to keep winning games, because they are. I'm saying I can't feel confident in them when they will have to play better teams, not necessarily great teams.
Okay.
But they are going to have different. They play the Bills and the Ravens after their bye. Okay. And right now, I still think the Bills and the Ravens are better teams than the New England Patriots, even though they beat them earlier this year. Right. I know they did, but some turnovers popped up in that game. It's going to be tough to happen again. Little things here and there. I'm not saying they're a bad team. I'm not saying they're not going to win a ton of games. They are. They're going to keep beating bad football teams, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I cannot back them as like, oh, they're just on the same level as the Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bills. I don't think they're at that level yet. Based on
it just feels. I mean, I guess to me, I think that's fair, but it just feels like they're in a collection of teams that are all capable of beating each other.
Sure, they're going to win like 13 or 14 games.
Yeah, but there's not a team out there, and I guess the Chiefs still have it because they're the Chiefs. But there's not really a team out there that I'm like, well, if you beat them, I guess you go back to back. If you sweep the Bills this year and then beat the Ravens, who we just talked about how flawed the Ravens are, then you'll feel better about this team.
Dominique, go back to last year when the Vikings were 13-4. I couldn't sit here and tell you, oh, the Vikings aren't beating the teams they're playing, and they are. Right. But when we got to the end of the year and they played the Lions and they played the Rams, it was like, maybe they're not quite. On the record, level of their record.
This is not Sam Darnold, though. It's a huge difference.
Yeah. He's better than Sam Darnold. It's true, but the defense is not as good as the Vikings defense was last year.
The Drake May stuff, like, I know he's still flawed. I know he's still an emerging quarterback, but like, this feels incredibly real. It's like we talked before the season about someone who could break into that top tier of those top 4 quarterbacks. I know Stafford has done it and like deserves to be in there too for the way he's played this season. But the Drake May thing feels like he is not just on that trajectory, but almost like right there already.
Were you watching this game closely early on, Charlie?
No.
Okay, so
I picked it up. I thought that this game was going to be one of the most like fun games of the day.
Yeah.
And I picked it up probably halfway through the first quarter, and then it felt like kind of a slog. So it was in the bottom right of my multi-view, and it was like, I thought this was going to be a much more aesthetic quarterback matchup, not in the sense of like these guys, just that they're going to be driving the ball downfield consistently. And May had dropped a couple throws in the bucket, but I wasn't like, it just wasn't as exciting as some of the other 1 p.m. slate games.
So there was a really bad rainstorm, like halfway through the first quarter.
The field was
when
totally
May
chewed
was
up
on the field,
and
he missed like a bunch of throws. Romo was like, listen, guys, I just saw this, and Drake May is not experienced throwing in the rain. And he was like missing throws by 3 yards. And it was like, oh no, Drake May can't, like I was getting Jared Goff vibes suddenly. And then the rain disappeared. And Drake May was great after that. So just keep that one in mind when we get to January. If he has to play in cold weather, he has to play in the rain, play in the snow.
The field was
Tony Romo was calling it out as a problem.
The field was totally torched too. It felt like that was an actual factor in the game, that the entire middle of the field by like halftime was completely chewed up. I will go out on a limb and I say I believe in Drake May.
He's great
in rain or shine.
Not that I'm concerned about, but Tony Romo was saying, this guy can't throw the ball in the rain.
Noted great announcer.
Leave our man Tony alone.
So do you want to talk about the Bucs at all on this? Because like they had all the 1-score wins. Baker was early MVP candidate. Obviously, he's been banged up. The entire team has been like beyond injured. Does this feel like a team that's just banged up and will hit their stride by the end of the season when the schedule gets like way softer down the stretch? Or this is just kind of who they are for the rest of this year, which is like, it's not like a lost season, but they're just going to be pretty good because of the injuries. And like, they'll probably still win the NFC South. But
yeah, I mean, if those are my options, I think this is who they are for the rest of the year. Like, I don't think they're going to separate
well, if
themselves.
you then reframe the conversation
they won't.
of like what you think about them.
Right. No, I mean, I still think that they're a good and competitive team. Like I think they could beat anybody in NFC, but I certainly don't think that they're going to be a favorite like going into the playoffs. The issues that they have are not issues that I think that they will bounce back from easily. And like the Baker Mayfield situation, like he is the plays that he makes are randomly athletic on occasion without being a special athlete. So it does not feel replicable, right? Does that Bill's laughing because like early in the season he made a lot of meanest
compliment I've ever heard anyone give.
It's not meant to be a compliment or even meant to be mean. It's like so many of the important plays that he made early in the season were him scrambling and running, and it's just like Baker Mayfield ain't that guy. Like I don't expect Baker Mayfield to convert important downs when someone has a spy on him. Like he's not that type of athlete.
Is randomly athletic the new deceptively athletic or something fast?
Yeah. It's not.
Domonique, you ended up in like a net average, but you were really mean and really complimentary along the way, and it just evened out to being
there we go.
It's kind of neutral in the big picture.
The Sean Payton offense, bombs and screens, baby.
Yes, it was the screens. Here's my concern about the Buccaneers. We've talked for so many moments here about this team is a decent schedule. The Bucs are at Buffalo and at the Rams the next 2 weeks. If they lose those games and they're 6-5, I think we're going to be having a conversation about the Bucs not being a team that's going to be locked to win the NFC South.
I think you're right.
And I don't think they should be favored in either of those games.
Last story. Chicago Bears 24, New York Giants 20.
Why do we got to do this game? Come on.
Well, what's the bigger? We can.
We're not doing the Commanders game, but we're going to do this one.
Do you want to know my Commanders thought? I can give it to you in 1 second. They need to do one thing for the rest of the season. I'll say this directly to the camera.
Oh, okay.
The greatest asset, period, in the NFL right now is Joe Witt. We will get a top 5 pick if you don't fire him after the Madrid game, because they will give up 45 points in every game for the remainder of the season, and we will get a Reuben Bain or a Caden Proctor or someone who could be an impact player. So whatever you
Domonique.
do, I know you're like, I know you'll be like, oh, this guy's the worst defensive coordinator we've ever seen. This is the least organized defense. They're going to give up chunk play after chunk play after chunk play and embarrass themselves. I don't know if you saw the Marcus Mariota quote where he said, I think we need to be transparent. I think we aren't who I think we were. Which is an incredible quote post game. But whatever you do, wait to fire this guy until 2026. He is amazing.
How?
You'll give up 40 yards of play
for Charlie.
50. How do I know it's over?
He's scouting college defenders here in mid-November. He's on his Saturdays watching. Whatever. He's watching offensive linemen. He's watching Dallas defenders. Yeah. He's grinding the college tape.
I've literally thought how I would feel if they draft Caleb Downs, who I think is absolutely tremendous as a safety, but it's like, getting a safety for this? Like best available versus positional value. Like,
so you want Reuben Bain?
Yeah, hell yeah.
You don't want Proctor to protect your quarterback?
Well, I get Proctor, kick Connerly into guard. See, might be cooking with something.
All right,
might be cooking with something.
Well, Bills, who do you want your Giants to be tanking for us? Is that's what Charlie is all about? Because the Giants,
Dan Quinn might be their defensive coordinator next year.
The Giants,
Brian Daboll might be the Commanders' offensive coordinator next year.
Where's he?
A couple of bums down here trading coaches, pair of losers, trading coaches around the NFC East.
Okay, so Bears Giants. You asked for this. I gave you my Commander's take. I thought it was tremendous. Yep. Everyone's saying it was a great take. Bigger story. Bigger story. Caleb leading his fourth game winning drive, or Jackson Dart getting knocked out. We're focused on the quarterbacks. What was the bigger story?
I mean, I think it's Jackson Dart getting knocked out of the game. I mean, I think the Caleb Williams situation. Caleb, like, he plays like an out of control cult. Like, I just feel like it's so ridiculous and beautiful and ineffective and then suddenly effective. And
he can fire that pigskin.
he throw everything is a fastball. It's amazing and ridiculous. And it seems like week to week, it doesn't matter who they're playing. I'm gonna get him shaking off a giant defensive end, scrambling in circles, looking incredibly athletic, getting on the sideline, and then just ripping the hardest thrown ball ever to nobody. In this game, he had a comeback as another comeback after a few in a row. So, like, that's encouraging.
Crazy runs on that last drive.
Yeah, that's impressive. Yep. But the ability, that was never the concern for him. I think what we expected was that Ben Johnson would help him operate within a system and then break out the great plays when he needs to. We haven't seen that happen yet. He's still, I think, probably the least accurate quarterback in football as far as, like, completions over expected.
He's last.
So, like, you guided me back to talking about him, but I think the Jackson Dart injury was, or concussion, another concussion, was the more interesting thing of this game, because we're at this, like, moral dilemma where the coach is in a position to try to win, but also needs to protect Brian Daboll, it is, but also needs to protect, speaking of the best asset on the team, Jackson Dart. And I think that the ownership, they need to have a conversation with Brian Daboll so that he understands. And also Jackson Dart is like, everyone's being assessed on everything. It's not just how many games you win. It's on your ability to design an offense that's not going to get our quarterback killed. And for the quarterback, it's your ability to manage this offense in a way that's not going to get you killed. He's been in the concussion tent more than it feels like anybody else in the league the last few weeks. That is not sustainable.
Been every game except for one for him, right? I might have that wrong. I saw that online.
No. He's been either in the concussion protocol or had to leave the game with some kind of injury for at least one snap in every one of his starts except for one.
That's not good.
That's, unprecedented. Even Anthony Richardson made it through more games unscathed than Jackson Dart. Can I just throw one thing out there before I get to the real analysis here?
Mm-hmm.
Can we stop going to Russ? Can we just get Jameis on the field, please?
For the love of God. Thank you, Bill.
Like, at least it'd be more entertaining. Like, it's just, you know how, like, when there's, like, a big game, like, in a city, if, like, the football team's playing in the Super Bowl, they'll, like, rent out the, like, basketball arena, or if, like, the team's playing in the finals.
Right.
I guarantee you could have got 10,000 fans to go to Giant Stadium to boo Russell Wilson coming onto the field.
Are you one of those fans?
I don't have the heart or the energy to invest myself in this with 2-7 football team. No, it's not worth it. It's both things, Domonique, and I think that's the problem. Is we can sit here and say, okay, Brian Daboll needs to not call as many quarterback design runs, and clearly he has not. After all those weeks of him missing games and having to go to the concussion tent and having to get checked out, has not stopped Brian Daboll from calling design run after design run. So that's the problem. But then on top of that, when Jackson Dart does run, whether he's as a scrambler or whether it's on the design runs, dude does not want to slide, does not want to go down, does not want to go out of bounds, is taking people on, taking unnecessary hits. And that's doubly difficult. Because with someone like Lamar, we talked about earlier, he is so good at avoiding hits. He's so slippery. He's so smart. He's so patient. He's willing to accept, I'm not going to get every single yard and every single play. And that's a compliment to Lamar Jackson. With Jackson Dart, it feels like the closest thing I can compare him to is like Fitzpatrick. Like back in the day when Ryan Fitzpatrick would just, be like diving head first, down 20 points to try and, get the ball in from the 1 yard line. And it's just like, that's not a good idea, man. Like, that's just not smart. And I just think it's going to be really hard to do that because this offense does not have other answers. It's not like this is the offense with Cam Scatterbo and Malik Neighbors. Darius Slayton went out hurt in this game. It's not like they have a bunch of other things they can turn to. I think both Brian Daboll and Jackson Dart feel like, oh no, the only way this is going to work is if I am diving headfirst into danger at every single opportunity. And they might be right, but it's damaging to the career of a player the Giants are going to be invested in, hopefully for them, way beyond this season.
Yeah, but I mean, and I guess to your point, the lack of weapons is an issue because it's not as if Jackson Dart can't pass. Like, he's demonstrated to us that he can be an effective passer. He's thrown a few really accurate passes in the last couple of weeks that were dropped. So, like, I get that as part of the problem. And he threw for like 240 or something like that in this particular game. Like, he's not a bad passer, but
he had 200 at halftime.
Yeah, I think that's also connected to his ability to run, to threaten that, but he's already demonstrated that. It's just it rarely seems so obvious that you're putting your future at risk for a season that is already somewhat lost, and not that you should give up on the season, because you still are playing to decide who's going to be on the roster, whether the coach is going to be there or not, and all those things. But also, like, if the result is you learn everything you need to know about Brian Daboll, but your quarterback is broken for the future, then you did it wrong. Like, I'd rather be unsure about Brian Daboll at the end of the season and have Jackson Dart never step foot in the injury tent again for the rest of the season.
So you're saying they should check him out for his inevitable weekly concussion or lower leg injury on the bench? They just shouldn't use the tent?
No, I think they should not have any situation where he is putting himself in this much danger.
Domonique was calling him the camper before the show.
Yeah, I called him the camper because he's always in the tent. I called him the Boy Scout. I had a lot of little quality jokes that I was not going to bring to the air, but we're here now. We're here now. Anyway, get that man. What you like tie knots or something? I ran out of Boy Scout references.
Why are you looking at me? I don't know.
Tie knots.
Yeah, that's what you do, right? You tie knots.
Do I look like a camp?
Actually,
no.
I mean, between the three of us, I think yes.
Yeah, of the three of us,
no way.
You look the most like yeah.
You know me though.
Oh, I know you, but I mean, if we had someone
going to the Hampton Inn.
if we had someone guess randomly or choose one of us who knew nothing about any of us, it would be you, Bill, then me. Can't
put it this way: the three of us are stranded in the woods somewhere somehow.
Yeah,
and we got to start a fire. We're both looking
at you like, Charlie, what you got, man? What you know about Flintstones?
You can I DoorDash a lighter? I don't know.
No. I do not believe the DoorDash comes to secluded islands or wherever we are. Anyway. Thanks, Bill. You're the best. Thank you, Charlie. You're okay. This has been the Domonique Foxworth Show presented by Allstate. Throw your hands up. Thanks to Charlie, Bill, all the great producers at Podville. We love you. We out.
This is the Domonique Foxworth Show.